Hi, Jason Wells here with Retired at 32. And the question I want to ask you is what does living life in your terms look like to you? And I bring this up because a lot of people, when they see retired at 32, they make a lot of assumptions as to what retired at 32 has looked like to me for the last 8 years at this point. And I think it's based on what people think retirement's going to look like for them. And so I kind of think a lot of people think when you're retired, you're going to be sitting on some beach somewhere. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the the area that I'm in. I have a lot of people out there that have websites that claim financial freedom. They say a lot of things, and the reality is they're really not. But they have some photo of them sitting on some chair on a beach somewhere with their cell phone and their laptop, and they're actually trying to do the business there on the beach, which is stupid. I'd get sand in my computer. I don't know what that's about, but I think it's a marketing ploy myself. But the point is, I will admit, in the first several years of having financial freedom and having that residual income, I lived in some beach towns, so maybe I maybe I actually lived what people think that I am now. I lived in Dana Point, California, South Beach, Miami, Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach, California, Clearwater, Florida, and Tampa, Florida. But what I can tell you is I got bored pretty fast. I realized that what I work so hard for in those first couple of years, being financial freedom and residual income, when I got to where I wanted to go, it was kind of like, okay, well, what now? And so the point is I got pretty bored with sitting on the beach. Now, I never did the sitting on the beach with my laptop acting like I was building my business. I never did that stuff, but I guess I kind of lived that dream life that everyone thinks that they want. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And I can tell you firsthand that this is very true. What I learned is that those couple of years that I put so much work into financial freedom and residual income, I probably should have enjoyed more. Because after I arrived at my destination, which was financial freedom and residual income, I got bored real quick, as I said earlier. And I thought that the great life of living, not having to do anything, living on beach towns and doing nothing and all that stuff is like, that's what I thought I wanted, but when I got there, it was just like, okay, well, what's my purpose now? Like, what am I doing with myself? So the point is, it really doesn't work, and that's why I asked the question, what does living life on your terms look like to you? Really consider it. I'm totally advocating the lifestyle that I have. I'm just saying that you may want to think about what you're going to do if you had financial freedom and time freedom and all those things. And maybe you've got this already figured out. I certainly didn't. And so I had to learn it through time. So what is being retired to me? Well, to me at least, it's not sitting around and doing nothing or traveling all the time. I'm sorry, but I just like working. I enjoy it. So that leads me to me realizing what I wanted with financial freedom. And number one, it's not having to work if I don't want to. Getting up when I want, going to bed when I want. That's like really important to me. My sleep cycle is not like most people's. I'm a night owl and I like to sleep in. And if I were still following the law track that my life was on years and years ago, I'd be having to stand in front of a judge at 8 a.m. in the morning with a noose around my neck. I'm referring to a tie and a suit. And that's not really what I wanted for the rest of my life. 3, I'd like to go on a trip or travel whenever I feel like it. On a moment's notice, I went to Dubai in March, and last November, for instance, within literally 2 weeks, I planned a trip to Bali. And it's just because I felt like going, and I had the time, I had the money to go. Whereas if a lot of people have the money, but they work so hard, they can't really enjoy it, or they can't take a last minute trip. They have to plan a vacation way in advance, or it'll never work. The point is, I don't want to be tied or forced to do anything. And when I choose to make commitments with people, I'm tied down to a certain degree. I'm tied to those commitments. But the point is, I chose to commit myself to those things. Whereas I think a lot of people feel like someone else has control over their time, and they're not really choosing to make those commitments. They're kind of stuck with them. And I know what you're thinking, some of you out there. Well, no, they're choosing to have a job, and they're choosing to be committed to those things. I understand that. But the reality is, people really don't have a choice. Like, until you make the commitment for financial freedom and you work on that on a part-time basis while you're working, you really don't have the choice, because we all have to make money and we all have to pay our bills. And until you find a way to do it without a job or a traditional business like I was running, the reality is you're committed to doing those things. So I will leave you with this. If you had financial freedom, if you could picture that right now, time freedom because of a residual or passive income, what would you picture yourself doing? What would be the advantage for you? What is living life on your terms? Is it spending more time with your family, your loved ones? Is it having something similar to me where I just can get up when I want, go to bed when I want? Would you travel more? Like, what are the things that you would do? And I think if you get some clarity on this, if you're somebody that's always strived to have financial freedom or strive to do their own thing, but you've never really done anything to get there, maybe that's one of the things that you need to look at. You figure out kind of where you want to go, what you really want. It'll drive you when you have those days where you're really not motivated to work on your goals, if your goals were financial freedom. So, in that 2-year period where I was working really hard to achieve this, there were days that I just didn't want to do anything. But the life that I wanted, at least at that time, what I thought I wanted, is what drove me. So anyways, what does living life on your terms look like to you? Think about that.